Hello, welcome. Got Stephanie Hrehirchuk on with us this beautiful autumn morning. Thanks for joining us.
Gorgeous, thanks for having me, Malcolm.
Yeah, for sure. So we're just gonna dive right into it. If you hop on, post any comments, questions, whether you're live or you're watching the recording, this will be up as a replay, and we will get your questions. We will answer and just have some fun and interact on this beautiful autumn morning. As if you're hopping on, just give us a hello, give us a thumbs up, and if you're loving it, give it a like, give it a share. We're going to dive into this idea of the pumpkin spiced craze. It has begun, hasn't it?
It has begun. It's
Right.
pumpkin spice everything.
Right? Everything, everywhere. Everyone's got a pumpkin spice latte. What's going on with this? Let's get right into it.
Yeah.
Is it, what would we call it? Fact or fiction? Fad or function? What's the mystery, the truth? Are you going to reveal to us?
It feels like it's a big marketing fad. However, this flavor has a lot more function than we realize.
Yeah.
So I'm holding my pumpkin spice latte from the light cellar, and immediately on this cold Calgary fallish morning, I feel warm and nourished and comforted and grounded.
Right.
Right?
So there we go. Those
There
two
we
words.
go. There's a whole function behind the pumpkin spice, the spices themselves, and the pumpkin and the squash.
Right. Yeah.
So in Ayurveda, which is India's over 5,000-year-old science of life,
Yeah.
they have different doshas, different elements, and these elements can be higher in some seasons and lower in other seasons.
Right.
And fall is the season of Vata,
Right.
which is air and space. So there's a lot of lightness. It's a cold season. It tends to be a windy,
Right. A lot of winds.
drier season.
Yeah.
And so we immediately feel that coldness in our bones and that coldness in our bodies. And the warming spices warm us from the inside out.
Yeah.
Which is good for our immune system. It's good for our energy. It feels comforting.
Totally, yeah. So let's back that up. She mentioned a couple of words, and if you're familiar with Ayurveda, then you've probably heard this before, but if not, we're just going to kind of dive into that, and then I'm going to go back into the whole spice thing. So that word dosha, right? Does this explain a little bit about that? And then we'll get into vata, and then the other doshas.
Yeah, so in Ayurveda, there's 5 elements, right? We have earth, water, fire, air, and space. Those 5 elements exist in everyone, but everyone has different quantities of them, right? So the 3 doshas are taking those elements and breaking them down. So kapha dosha, which is earth and water,
Right.
typically winter season.
Yeah.
Heavy, cold. We have a lot more, that earth and water characteristics in winter. We have pitta, which is fire and water.
Right.
So a lot of heat.
Summer, obviously.
Summer.
We're coming out of that.
Coming out of pitta, right? So we had this nice warm, we had a wetter summer, so we had actually a really pitta summer, fire and water.
Yeah.
And now moving into the vata season, which is fall.
Yeah.
So windy, light, dry, cool, right? And that's where we're heading. So we've had all of this fire happening in the body, and now we head off into this cooler season. Now, those of us who are pitta, so I've got lots of pitta going on, lots of fire.
Yeah.
As soon as fall starts to come, like these cooler mornings where the kapha people are complaining, it's so cold. I'm like, oh, finally, I love fall. It's cooling off, right?
Right, yeah. So there's a lot of power in knowing your own dosha, right?
Oh.
And it can be very intuitive. It doesn't have to be this kind of rigorous, like, I've definitely seen quizzes, and you can give it a quick little type into your search engine there, how to find out your dosha, but it is very intuitive. You can think about those elements, you can think about the seasons that you thrive in, seasons that you're challenged by, and that can help you arrive at that.
It's as simple as that, Malcolm. I mean, when you look at where you like to travel to, right? Like when you want a vacation. So if someone said to me, hey, let's go to Houston in August, I'd be like, no, right? Like more fire and water on top of fire and water in fire and water season.
Right.
But if you said, let's go to, the East Coast with the beautiful fall leaves in October. I'm like, can we stay at a bed and breakfast? Will they have some pumpkin spice lattes, right? Like to me, that's nourishing. So it can be as simple as just looking at what season feels good to you, what season is harsher or do you struggle in, and where do you like to travel to, what kind of climates and environments do you enjoy being in. And it's not just the weather, right? So we can see increase in pitta conditions in like a workplace.
Oh,
right? So the
of course.
thing where we call the pressure cooker, right? You're under stress, or there's a lot of, that heat going on in your environment, that can increase those dosha qualities as well. So
take you out of balance very easily.
Totally, And with Ayurveda, a big foundation of balance is diet.
For sure. So knowing, your inherent constitution, that type of self-knowledge, that wisdom then allows you to, navigate more.
Yeah. And once you know that, there's no more fads.
Right?
It's not like, I don't know, what are we doing this year? What's the latest craze?
Right.
It's like, no, this is my constitution. This is the season I'm in.
Yeah.
These are the foods I need for balance.
Yeah.
Right? And to just feel each day, where am I? Am I ungrounded? Am I feeling nice and grounded? So the secret behind the pumpkin.
Yeah.
Right? And I was testing, your kitchen was making pumpkin curry soup this morning.
I mean, Jessie, she's primarily our chocolate maker, but she's really extending beyond. She's now into elixir bar, and she's coming up with all kinds of wonderful seasonal favorites, like the pumpkin pie spiced latte, and yes, the soup, which is just on today. First day, we got this soup now. Because, it's one of those things, you guys have been requesting it, more food at the elixir bar. The drinks are wonderful, the treats are wonderful, but, where's that savory nourishment?
It was amazing. It was so, I would call sustaining.
Right,
just
nice.
Beautiful spice, perfect amount of heat,
yeah.
Gorgeous flavors, but a really sustaining soup. When we look at the pumpkin and the squashes, and for the fall, these are, vegetables that grow close to the ground, right? So they're close to our root vegetables, and that's grounding for us. So in a season that can be light and airy and windy, and we can get monkey mind and restlessness, and it's September and everybody's getting back into school and work and it's so busy, eating these vegetables is very grounding for us,
sure.
right? And they're also higher in oils. So again, we get, instead of that dry light, we now bring in the oily and the wet component, which is nourishing for us in fall.
And all the more essential here in Calgary as well.
And Calgary is always dry, right? I mean, we complain, we had such a wet summer.
Oh, it was awesome.
But we're a dry climate.
Yeah,
We're a dry climate. So anytime we can get those extra oils into our systems, those healthy, beneficial fats.
Yeah. So what I love about this and this conversation we're going here, like you say, you get to this place, this confidence, there are no fads. There is no yo-yo dieting, this and that. And, it has its place. It certainly did for me. I went through this journey of experimenting, and I'm so grateful to be done with that. To have this solid, this clarity, this self-knowing about my body, to be able to eat seasonally, flow with it, intuitive eating. We were just chatting earlier. I used to live in Arizona, hot, dry climate, and I was living in a raw food community for over a year and a half, almost a year and a half, in fact, and did the whole raw food diet for a number of years. And Stephanie says, well, how was that? I mean, did you feel ungrounded? And oh, for sure I did. I mean, and you bring a whole community of people together that are also on that ungrounded level. Yeah, it just accentuated it all.
And I mean, it's fun, right? We have a whole, literally, pardon the pun, buffet of choices available to us dietary-wise. Totally. We've never had this variety of choices where you can, pop into the light cellar or pop into any store and find this cornucopia of foods. But in that, it can become confusing. You can experiment and play and try things out and discover things. But then sometimes you kind of go down the rabbit hole and you're like, I don't even know what to eat anymore.
Right?
What's working? What's not working? So when you do understand your natural constitution and then, garner that with the weather conditions, maybe your office or family conditions, then you have a really good handle on balancing your health.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And, so we're talking about seasons, we're talking about this craze of the pumpkin pie spice. If you're just joining us, whether you're watching it live or you're catching the replay, say hello, give us a thumbs up. We got Megan that's joining us. Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Megan.
Yeah, good to see you. We're having fun on this nice autumn morning, talking about the seasons, talking about our own constitution and how that understanding, developing that wisdom of our own bodies, and a system like Ayurveda that allows us that insight to then navigate the world through diet primarily to help bring that balance, knowing that what our constitution is, what their season is. And so we've talked about kind of year to year, but I've also heard you share that there's that seasonality of life as well.
Oh yes,
right?
Yes.
So
we come into life in kapha stage, right? Because as babies, we have more earth and water. We need it. We have to grow tissue, right?
Totally.
We need to grow our immune system, right? Nice big fat plump babies. and we have kind of almost excess earth and water, right? There's like snot coming out of the nose and stuff coming out of that, and there's just mucus everywhere, right? Puking and but we need that. We need to grow that tissue. So we have this extra kapha energy that, you know, strengthens us. And then we get into midlife where we hit the pitta stage of life, and that's our fire and water phase. So, you know, that's kind of 18 to 30 something, different for everybody. But like you're going to college, you're going to work, you're getting a job, you know, you might be out in the field farming. You need more energy. You need determination, drive, and fire and focus. So that's your fire time. Then we slide into our fall season of life, which is again different for everyone. Our let's call it our wisdom season.
Yeah, I like that.
Where we hit, you know, the Vata.
A ripening.
A ripening, yes. And this can be really challenging for people because think about it. What is Vata? It's air and space.
Right.
So what is Vata missing? All the other elements. Right? Yeah. So, you know, you can feel...
You're drying out. You're
drying out. Atrophy. But you can feel a little spacey. Right? You can feel, you know, you're not sleeping well at night. You're restless. Your mind's busier. You worry more. You have more anxiety. These are not your fault. These are the Vata season of your life.
Totally.
And that's why you come back to the Vata principles and you say, I need to do daily oil massage on myself, right? Because that's nourishing and grounding. I bring in the pumpkins, I bring in the squashes, I bring in the root vegetables, warming foods, right? Again, grounding, helping you sleep at night.
Yeah.
But the gift of this season of life, and it's so cool because it's one of the longest seasons, is it's your creative time.
Right.
Yeah. So people get super creative. Vata energy is awesome creative energy, right? It's like possibilities swirling anywhere, and you just need to ground them and bring them down to earth. So, you know, this is often when people take up writing or painting or pottery or cooking or, you know, they really start to explode in these creative ways, and that's that Vata energy. Yeah. And it's actually, I recommend, do find something creative, because that'll stop this from winding and winding and winding, right? Like have something to channel all that great Vata energy into.
Yeah, cool. I love it. It makes so much sense, right? And just like you say, we have access now, this day and age, right? People of the past used to dream about this. I mean, even have grapes, you know, or whatever. Just we have such access at our fingertips of all amazing foods, the spices, everything. But it's also the knowledge, right? You say Ayurveda 5,000 years old, but you know, no one else in time has had access to it so readily, so easily as we do now. And it's absolutely amazing. So.
Yes. And you can bring Ayurveda into your kitchen this fall. Really simple. I have 2 kids. I have a lot of stuff going on at any given time, lots of Vata happening. So I need to keep things very simple. My pantry does look like a mini version of the light cellar. I could be your satellite store up in Tuscany.
There you are.
But there's a few staples that if you bring these into your home for the fall, so we've got clove, which you don't need a ton of clove.
Yeah, little
clove can be drying.
Yeah.
If there's too much. So a little bit of clove is a warming spice. Ginger and cinnamon. These are like your happy trio.
Yeah.
Right? And you can make pies and puddings and elixirs and
for sure.
Right? You can add these to all sorts of things and you immediately have that pumpkin pie spice.
Yeah.
Feeling, grounding, warming.
Warming for sure.
Yeah, so those 3 are brilliant. And then I was sneaking around the light cellar and I found this brilliant golden milk from Harmonic Arts. This one is.
Yeah.
But golden milk is the old, it's like the yogi tea.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
The yogis would drink after practice.
Yeah, they would often put it in milk, right? Turmeric and all, again, that same theme of all those wonderful healing, warming spices.
Nourishing, grounding, restorative.
Yeah.
And then a big Ayurveda winter protocol. I typically wouldn't use this the rest of the year. This is kind of what I go to when I'm sliding through fall and getting ready. So the whole fall routine is to prepare the body for winter. Right? So we're preparing, we want to nourish. We don't want to be losing weight at this time. No. We don't want to be, stressing the immune system. We want to be bringing in nourishment. Yeah. It's actually a good time, you can put on a little weight at this time, but we're preparing to go through this winter season. And ashwagandha is so brilliant for the immune system, and it's a great way to prepare for the winter season.
For sure. And we would talk about sleep and that over kind of anxiousness, the restlessness. One of the kind of benefits that ashwagandha is known for. So there's the tagline, the strength and stamina of the stallion. And, one kind of where that comes from, one part of it is a lot of people, it is an adaptogen, so it can actually give you energy, or if your body needs that rest, it can really encourage like deep relaxation, deep sleep. Again, that transition, like kind of slowing down, getting into winter mode and resting. So that's where I see ashwagandha coming in as well.
Mm-hmm. And it's brilliant. I mean, being that adaptogen, like you say, because when we hit the winter, that might be really restorative for the Pitta and Vata types, but the Kapha is going to struggle. Right? So if you already have more earth and water and you tend to gain weight, and now you hit the middle of January and it's dark and heavy and you're lethargic, right? That can become troublesome. Now we can't get you off the couch.
Right.
You're eating donuts out of the box. So to have the ashwagandha to balance that energy depending on how your system needs it is really important.
Cool, right on. I know we got Tim on, we got Chrissy. Hey Chrissy, she's loving the autumn. Perfect, we are too. We're talking pumpkin pie spice, squashes, all these things that there is a reason, there's an intuitiveness to the season and to our eating. So it definitely is going beyond craze. We've been talking about Ayurveda and the doshas, understanding your doshas, Vata, Pitta, Kapha. So if you're just joining us live, or you're watching the replay, just post any comments, questions down below. Love to hear from you. Hi again, Chrissy. And I want to touch on this idea. So you've written this book here. It's called Nourish, Ayurveda-inspired 21-day detox. And we're talking about eating with the seasons, having that kind of intuitive flow. And what I heard you say is, you don't want to lose a lot of weight. Now's not the time to go into a juice cleanse, for instance. Like, celery may be great, it may be trending, but, the fall, autumn, it's not the time to be doing your fruit juice cleanses. So oftentimes I know when people hear detox, I know initially my mind was like, okay, detox, I gotta like juice cleanse, I gotta like master cleanse. What's your approach to doing some, like a detox? Is autumn a good time to detox? And if so, how would you do that intelligently?
Right, yes. So as you know, I was a personal trainer for 15 years. And, I would have this range of clients in the gym, and they'd all be on the same protocol, right? They'd be running on the treadmill, eating salads in January, right?
Been there, done
as
that.
One did. And one person would thrive, one person would fail. They'd be like, out sick for the season. And the rest would be, these varying degrees of, why isn't this working? This is, this is supposed to be working. And then when I met Ayurveda years ago, and they talked about unique constitutions, every person has a unique constitution, so every person has a unique, diet and lifestyle that will help them thrive. And then let's bring the seasons into that. And I went, okay, this everybody should know this. This makes perfect sense. Right? So I started to take what I knew from 15 years of personal training and marry it with what I found were the best practices from Ayurveda, and bring that into what I built as a 21-day detox. And it's not the detox that, green smoothie, for a week. This is a holistic, so a whole body. One of the things I love about Ayurveda is, yes, diet is a big part of it. Spices are a big part of it, and herbs, but the self-care piece. Right? So breathing. We do alternate nostril breathing during the practice, right?
Your most vital nutrient, right? Tapping into how to like truly properly breathe. And,
into breath. We do things like, I talked about it, daily oil massage, which is self-abhyanga. And that's a cornerstone practice in Ayurveda for wellness. And you'd be amazed if you practice self-oil massage every day for 30 days.
Wow.
It shifts things for you. It really does. It's very helpful. Now, the 2 times of year that Ayurveda tends to really promote detox are spring and fall.
Right.
Those are the key times, because in the fall, we're preparing the body for winter.
Right.
So we're not doing juices, and we're not, we're kind of out of the raw foods at that point. We're getting into these seasonal warming foods, and that's nourishing the digestive system, that's nourishing the immune system. We're grounding, we're preparing for this, beautiful winter rest. And then when we detox in the spring, we're shedding that heavy coat of kapha from the winter.
Right.
So we're saying, okay, we took all that in, we've restored the body. Now we're going to bring in the wilted greens. Now we're going to start to lighten things up. But we don't go from heavy, this winter season to salad. Right. So these transition seasons are really important in Ayurveda, because that tends to be when people get sick.
Right.
When they clunk.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I know the colds and flus have been going around. I'm sure those of you that are watching, you've already know someone or been there yourself. It's those shoulder seasons, that transition. Yeah. So this type of knowledge is absolutely essential and will last you a lifetime. We talked about the doshas, how we each have our own constitution to flow through these seasons, year to year, but also through life. And I want to thank you for coming on and sharing. Stephanie will be teaching a workshop here at Light Cellar coming up on Saturday, the 21st, 2019, obviously, of course, but unless, we're going to post this on the blog, this will be out there for a while. Valuable information. Thanks again for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Do you want to share just a touch more about kind of a little bit in depth on the workshop? Anyone that's been watching that's really enjoyed this wants to go a little deeper with you?
For sure, yes. If you can come to the workshop on Saturday, it's 2 hours. We're going to do the Dosha Quiz. So
okay,
we talked about
so you will
finding out what is your dosha. So
yes.
everybody wants to know. It's kind of like, what's my zodiac sign? What's my dosha? So we are going to do the Dosha Quiz, so you'll be able to find out what your dominant doshas are, and we're going to talk about what that means to you in terms of diet and lifestyle, and what seasons are best for you, and how to set up a protocol before a troublesome season comes along, so that you're ready for it. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to talk about how detox is more than diet. So we're going to look at that full holistic approach to how you can have a nourishing detox this fall.
Yeah, awesome. All right, well, I'll put the link to that class in the comments. Love for you guys to join us. We do also have Stephanie's book here in Light Cellar, Nourish, Ayurveda Inspired 21-Day Detox. Everything that she's learned about Ayurveda and how she's integrated that into her own life and with her clients. Fantastic book, and not overwhelming either, right? It's very short, simple, to the point, lots of great wisdom in there. We encourage you to utilize this information, right? Talked about those healing, warming spices this time of year, your pumpkins, your root vegetables, how that's going to be more grounding and more warming in this kind of airy transition time where so many of us do get susceptible to colds, to flus, that kind of thing. So the more we can build our inner resilience, our inner warmth, just the better off we're going to feel. So, all right. Again, if you got any comments, questions, just post them down below. We'll be watching this feed after the replay as well. If you've enjoyed this, give us a thumbs up, give it a share, and I'd love to get this out to more and more people. So thanks again to Stephanie Hrehirchuk. You can find you're on Facebook, you're also on Instagram as well.
I am. I'm at stephaniehreirchuk.com. Good luck spelling that. But I can put it in the comments below.
Yeah, just tag me in the video, of course, that specific spelling. I've known Stephanie for years, and I think I'm getting the pronunciation
You're
now.
getting real close.
You're getting real close. Yeah. All right. Well, wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us.
Fall.
Yes. Have a wonderful autumn. Thanks for joining us this morning, and we'll see you for the next one.